Welcome into the Spotlight on Wrestling Spotlight. We're joined by a special guest today, WWE Hall of Famer, and as he talks about in his book, the biggest job, a Hall of Fame dad, winner of Dad of the Year, WWE Hall of Famer Titus O'Neil, Thaddeus Bullard, former Florida Gator. Titus, thanks for taking the time to step in the ring. Really thrilled to talk with you. Just a great personal story.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to ask because I've been playing around trying to write a sales training book for years, and I've never gotten beyond a chapter. What motivated you to take the time to put the commitment in to write not one but two books?
So many people seem to be intrigued by my story, which was the first book that I wrote. There's no such thing as a bad kid. And then, I work with a lot of kids, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously being the father of three children, and knowing my journey of being a dad and my journey of also growing up fatherless. Just wanted to kind of shed a light on the importance of fatherhood, but also recognize some challenges that I think that all dads, regardless of race, color, creed, or background or financial status, that we all kind of maybe share. And this is not a professional standards book by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to fatherhood, but it is something that I feel like needs to be shown a bigger spotlight on it, and the importance of it. I think that with the way that society has shifted a little bit in thought when it comes to the way that families are developed, or the ability to have children. But Mother's Day is often celebrated, and Father's Day is usually tolerated. And I wanna kind of bring the importance to the forefront, not just for men, but for women and children to kind of collectively have a better sense of how we should, look at fathers and the whole topic of fatherhood. I think that a lot of times that men feel like if they can't provide and protect, then they can't be good fathers, and that's absolutely not the truth, in my opinion. I think that there are fathers out there that are struggling to make ends meet, but are really good men and they're present in their
Mm-hmm.
kids' lives. And I think being present is way more important than how much you can provide and what you can provide. There are a lot of people that grew up, in situations where things weren't always rosy when it comes to even living facilities or what they ate for dinner and things like that, but they knew they had a father that loved and cared for them, and that in itself was great leadership. Because let's face it, it takes a great leader to be able to navigate people through very tough and tumultuous times, and I think that all starts in the home.
Yeah, I like that a lot, and it's so important because it's not like there's an owner's manual. All right, some
Mhm.
some people, they're in a position and they don't think they can do it, and you can kind of give up and stop trying, stop pushing, and that's the thing that you just can't do. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep pushing through. And I wanted to just highlight your personal story. That you went from being in, it was the Florida Boys Ranch,
Yeah, Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranch, Boys Ranch. Yep.
to being the vice president of your class at Florida. I mean, and you said that a lot of it came from the turning point, really, and you'll tell it better than I would, was one person
Mhm.
stepping up, saying that they loved you,
Yeah.
and then backing it up.
Right. Yeah, it was two gentlemen. One being a man that I still call my dad, Mr. Charles Blaylock. He was the superintendent of schools. He really took me under his wing when he didn't have to. Brought me into his family as a part of his family. Was a great role model for me in so many different ways, and showed me truly what love from a father looked like. Mr. Patrick Minot, the conversation that I had with him at 12 years old really changed my way of thinking. He told me two things that really stuck with me and still stick with me to this day. The first one being that there's no such thing as a bad kid, and he told me at a time in which I was labeled a bad kid. I was going to be dead or in jail by the time I was 16. I would never graduate from high school, which in my family, no one had graduated in high school
Sure.
or from high school at that point. And I would never go to college. I was too dumb, etc. The list went on and on. And then he told me that he loved me and that he believed in me. And I think that a lot of people hear the I love you part, and then probably experience some of the same things that I experienced as a kid or as a person, where people betray you, people abuse you, people abuse things about you. But nobody really hears I believe in you on a regular basis, whether it be a child or an adult. And Mr. Blaylock showed that he not only loved me, but he also believed in me. And belief also comes with accountability. It comes with discipline. It comes with uh, uncomfortable conversations. When people believe in you, they truly do push you to be the best version of yourself. And that doesn't require perfection. And I think a lot of men um, have this perceived idea that you have to be the perfect father. When you don't, perfection does not exist. I truly believe we all serve one perfect God, and He didn't put us on earth here to be perfect. He put us on the earth here to be obedient, and that those things. When you live life long enough, you'll realize that obedience is greater than sacrifice. And sometimes the things that we look to think that we're sacrificing really is just a direct reflection of us not being willing to be obedient to what our calling is in life. And so those two men gave me an opportunity to realize what true obedience was to their calling, to help kids get to a better place. Some they essentially failed in some cases, and then some they essentially won in some cases. But I think that if the effort is there for you to be obedient, there really is no loss. It's just a shortfall in some cases, but in time, with consistency, the breakthrough always happens.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, in not just in your career, but in life in general, to understand that sometimes you do have to pivot. You have to move and change careers. And I was in college on an athletic scholarship, blew out my knee, ended up getting a major market morning drive sports radio show while I was in college.
Mhm.
And the station got sold. I had to change my career and move because, doing nothing wasn't an option. Feeling sorry
Right.
for yourself isn't. You got to
Right.
keep going. And I mean, personally, you had to make that change and make that commitment. As it turns out, through friendship with Dave Bautista
Hmm.
to get into the WWE. Back when it was still Florida Championship Wrestling, right before NXT.
Yes. Yeah.
How hard
Yes,
of
sir.
a how hard of a choice was that to make? Because I mean, you had to feel like, man, hey, I got it. I'm in football, and then it was arena football. But
Hmm.
at a time when arena football was huge,
Yeah.
how did the transition to pro wrestling go? That's something a lot of people go through, and only a few make it.
Yeah. Well, I initially wanted to coach, and I was on my way to doing so. I had been coaching for years prior to that, to me moving into going into that back doors of FCW, and actually had an interview set up to go back to the University of Florida to be an assistant defensive line coach. And who doesn't want to go back to their alma mater and contribute in some kind of way?
Sure.
And at the time, I literally just gotten divorced, probably 2 or 3 weeks prior to that. So, I'm probably at the lowest point in my life when it comes to my self-esteem, my confidence, etc. But I still have two young sons at the time to take care of. TJ and Titus were 2 and 4 when I got divorced. And, you know, picking up the phone and calling Dave, and because we had talked about it on several occasions in regards to like, what's the process and where do guys go and train and things like that. And so I was happenstance down in South Tampa and picking up a pair of dress shoes and had a taste for jerk chicken. And there's a place called the Jerk Hut down here in Tampa. There was one right
Okay.
around the corner from where I got my shoes fixed. And I saw this big black and yellow building to my right as I'm turning out of the parking lot. And I pick up the phone and I say, Dave, is this the place that you've been telling me to come check out? And he said, yeah. Uh, I said, I think I'm going to poke my head in the back door and kind of see what it's about. And he said, yeah, ask for Steve Kern of Dusty Rhodes. And I was like the Atomic Elbow, Dusty Rhodes? And he was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. It's like he helps with promos and the development of talent and stuff there. That's where we would go there to get our rehab and etc. And so I literally went in the back door, and 2 weeks later I was signed and learning how to become a WWE superstar. And that was in 2009. And, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. And at that time I was 32, getting ready to turn 33. So I felt like I was, there's no way that they're going to even allow me in the door. But then I had to realize that Dave Bautista was also 32 when he started, and right before his 33rd birthday as well. So at that time, you could be older. They actually would rather, in my opinion, you be older and have some wrestling experience with other promotions or come from a sports background.
Hmm.
Now, with the way that our system is set up, I think everybody in the company understands it's going to take a few years for you to develop into a superstar. And we have our NIL program that helps us kind of target elite college athletes that may not have that opportunity to go professional to pursue their careers professionally, and this is
Sure.
something that they can pursue as well. So the whole landscape of sports and entertainment now is completely different as far as WWE is concerned. And when I was getting into it, it was a kind of a very intimidating space for me to be in, to be honest with you. I'm looking around and I see Roman Reigns just starting off, and the Usos just starting off, and Bray Wyatt all just starting off. All these guys are in my class, and many of them are second and third generation
Yeah.
superstar. And, you know, um, Darren Young, Fred Rosser, was probably at the time one of the only people that really would get in the ring with me and work with me and really kind of help me develop, enough confidence in order to just to be in the ring. And I'm forever grateful to him for just taking a chance with his body, and also giving me as much knowledge as because he grew up loving it, and this was his dream job. And I think for me, it was a fairy tale going in because I watched it as a kid. My grandmother
Sure.
used to make sure that the screen door was closed on Saturday morning so that we can go in and enjoy. Uh, she wanted to make sure she watched her wrestling,
Uh-huh.
and she got into the fights all the time with my mom about me staying up late on Monday night to watch Monday Night Raw. So what became like a fairy tale world for me actually became a living dream for me as well, traveling the world, meeting so many people from so many different backgrounds. And I've received so much from being in the world of sports and entertainment and professional wrestling, in regards of knowledge of not only human beings, but also like our country, and when we boast that the United States is the greatest country in the world, I've gone literally everywhere, and there are some things in other places that I think if we enacted here in the United States, that we'd be a much better country. People don't come here, I don't believe, because, in my opinion, people don't come to the United States of America because it's the greatest country in the world. It's not. It's the country with the greatest amount of opportunity. That's why people
Sure.
come here. People come here and they get a chance to get an education that they may not get back in their respective home. They get a chance to build a business, start a family, get a second chance at life, and hopefully, for many, and has been the case for a lot of people. They've come here and they've lived the quote unquote American dream that also has for some people become the American nightmare. So I just think that uh, with this book and the emphasis on the importance of men being present and good leadership and the importance of that, I think it's relevant more now than ever,
Oh yeah.
because there's enough divisive things when it comes to politics and religion, that the leadership in the home has to be uh, even more airtight, and that leadership needs to be able to do what I feel like I've been able to accomplish by traveling with WWE, and that's realize that regardless of dialect, regardless of background, love is a universal language, and when we truly learn to speak it, it not only makes us better, it makes our families better, and then it makes our communities better, which makes our society better. And I think that does fatherhood and the role of a father plays a very pivotal part in doing so.
Now, when you say present, I think it all ties together, right? Because you want to be supportive, you want to be there and be a role model in whatever you do.
Hmm.
Whatever your job you do,
Hmm.
it's probably hard, it's a commitment, and you're putting the work in to be there to lift people up. How do you define being present? Somebody that's watching this and maybe they're a young father and they're struggling a little bit, trying to figure out, man, what do I do? What do you
Man, there's some
what do you tell somebody in
there's
that
this
situation?
yeah, there's this very inexpensive act that is probably the most important act, and that's communication. And when I say being present, it's putting your phone away, it's putting your laptop away. It's taking the initiative to say, hey, 10 minutes out of the day, every day, I want to know about your day. And in
Mhm.
return, I'm going to tell you about my day. And then I want to know two or three things that you loved about today. I want to know two or three things that you didn't like about today. You will find out so much about your children, who your children hang with, what teachers they like, what teachers they don't like, what sports they like, what activities they want to be involved in, etc. Just by sitting down and having simple conversations. And then um, if your son or your daughter call you in the room or call you in the living room and you say, hey, so what do you want to do today? And they be like, oh, I just want to watch this show on whatever streaming platform it is.
Sure.
Take that time, even if that's show or movie or film, it's the same thing every single day. That person, that daughter, that son, will never forget that moment, and those are memories that are being created. They'll forget half of the stuff you buy them. They'll outgrow most of the clothes you get for them. They'll outgrow some of the toys you buy for them. They'll never forget moments. And in life, we all have moments. We all have moments that we can reflect back on, happy moments, sad moments, etc. When people lose a loved one, they're not crying because of the car that the loved one bought them or the clothes that the loved one bought them. They're crying and grieving because of the impact that that person had on them because of their presence and the memories that were created with that said person. And whether it's a child or an adult, life is about memories. Life is about moments. And in our life, we get very few opportunities to have moments that are life changing, or have moments that are career shaping, or have moments that are career defining. And when you have those moments, uh, you take a person like myself, like I've accomplished a lot of things. I have awards galore, accolades galore. I'll never forget walking across the high school graduation stage. I'll never forget the feeling that I had of being the first person to do that in my family. I'll never forget the first
Sure.
time I stepped on Florida field. I'll never forget the first practice that I had on a college campus. I'll never forget the first time that I saw my son, as a father, and the day I became a father. I'll never forget a lot of moments of raising my kids. I can guarantee you I've forgotten half of the stuff that I purchased for them. Um, I've forgotten half of the experiences that I provided for them. But I will never forget certain moments in our life. I mean, me and my kids talk all the time just about certain things. I mean, TJ just texted me and asked me who was I going to the Super Bowl with this year. And that was a moment that I've shared with my sons on a few occasions. National championship game, same way.
Sure.
So in a world full of, and sometimes what it looks like chaos, you take that time to be present and have conversations with your children and with your family to let everybody know it's going to be all right. Yeah, it sucks with certain aspects of life. That's just life in general. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy or if you're not so wealthy. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, you know, uh, Hispanic, Asian. It doesn't matter. Like life happens to everybody.
Sure.
But at the core of everything, regardless of where we all come from, family is important. And I want to put a bow on it by saying that fatherhood is important because if men are going to be expected to lead uh, their wife and lead their children, then the title of father should have more prominence in society than it does.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, and it is super important. Be involved and also ask for help if you need it, because there are
Yes.
people out there willing to help.
Mm.
And you can't don't feel like something's hopeless and just say, "Ah, it's not worth it," because the effort the effort is so much of the reward too. And like you said, that's what people remember. I
Yeah.
winded down here. I did want to ask you too about your position as a global ambassador for
Hmm.
WWE and what that lets you do and doors that opens up.
Yeah, as a global ambassador, I mean, first and foremost, it's the first time that we've ever had that position in the company. For me, it just gives me, uh, I guess, leverage and bandwidth to continue doing what I would do normally anyway, and that is to be a blessing to lives of others in every way, shape, or form that I can possibly be. I'm in a position today, financially, physically, emotionally, mentally, not because of everything that I've done in the ring, but everybody that helped me get to a certain point in my life. And some of these people I've never met. Some of the folks that poured into the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranches, I've never met them. I don't know, who wrote the check for $1,000 or who wrote the check for $5. All I know is that they poured into something that allowed children like me at the time an opportunity to have a better life. And I wake up every single day with gratitude and an understanding that, yeah, I'm extremely blessed in a lot of ways. From birth, I wasn't supposed to be here, but now that I'm here, I'm very adamant about being the best that I can possibly be in every aspect of my life. But I'm also very adamant about helping others be the very best in every aspect of their life. So, as a global ambassador, I'm literally just being an extension of who I am, much like a WWE superstar, whether a female superstar or male superstar. The characters you're seeing you don't see a whole lot of colorful characters. You see real human beings that are just basically taking extensions of themselves and
Hmm.
applying it to a real life character on television. CM Punk doesn't come to the ring with all types of, armbands and headbands and face paint or any of that stuff. He's CM
Yeah, he's
Punk.
not the repo man.
Right, right. There's not a character on our roster that's, spitting snakes out of their mouth like the boogeyman. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So while we have so much respect for those that came before us, I love the fact of the transition of of presenting characters as real life people. And I think being a global ambassador has allowed people to see the real life person that Thaddeus Bullard is, and also realize that Titus O'Neil is who I play for a living, but Thaddeus Bullard is who I am for a living. But it just so happens that I've had the luxury of kind of instituting both into a character. And I think that you see that with Cody Rhodes, you see that with Bianca Belair, you see that with Rhea Ripley, you see that with everybody on the roster now. The character development is more meaningful for so many fans because a lot of them feel like they can relate. And there's something for everybody on the WWE roster. And I'm just very fortunate that I've had a chance to work with some tremendous human beings, tremendous athletes, and also being able to inspire them to get involved in their respective communities,
Sure.
to follow their passions, in regards to starting their own nonprofits, and also inspire them to get more engaged in some of the company initiatives in regards to Make a Wish or what we do with the troops, and just understanding that this platform is not just to make a lot of money for the company and make a lot of money for yourself. Is really to help change lives, and we get a chance to do that 52 weeks out of the year on live television with people that you'll never meet, and whether they're gathering in arenas or they're gathering around their television or they're gathering around their laptops, you got a chance to hold people's attention and help them escape their reality for 2 or 3 hours every single week. And that is power. And I
Yeah.
want all of us to take this power that we have with this platform that is the WWE and utilize it for good. And I think that we've done an extremely incredible job with allowing our superstars to be those superheroes in so many different spaces.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's just rolling with the move to Netflix, and we're on
Mm-hmm.
the road to WrestleMania. I
Mm-hmm.
was talking with some of the independent promotions in Las Vegas today, and everybody in Las Vegas is excited about WrestleMania coming and going to see the whole community come in. And I was amazed at WrestleMania last year. It's the first one I was able to attend, all the people from around the world that come in.
Right.
So it is worldwide. I was walking through the reading terminal and having lunch with family from Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
waiting in line at WWE World with family from Britain, family from Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's incredible the amount of reach. And just one last question: what's the goal as we move into 2025? What does Thaddeus Bowler, Titus O'Neil have on the agenda for pushing
Well,
even further ahead in 25?
yeah, I've kind of had the opportunity to kind of move into the Hollywood space, and I really love it.
Uh-huh.
I have a couple projects that I'm appearing in 2025, late 2025, that I'm excited about, and I'm excited about things to come with that. Um, there's no question that I love the WWE. I love the platform that it's allowed me to build. But we have so many things outside of WWE. As far as when I say we, me and my family, and my
Mhm.
foundation. I have a public school here that bears my name on it, and middle school, and we're doing tremendous things there. I'm continuing to help change the culture there, change the culture of the entire neighborhood, the zip code that it resides in is the city campus. So I'm really focused on continuing to build upon that. There are a lot of irons in the fire. Obviously, I have 3 restaurants down here in Tampa that I'm a owner of. I have View Studios, which has taken off for me as well. It's the replacement to green screen technology. Actually, WWE
Okay.
uses our technology as well. We have a studio. We have studios all over the world. We just opened one in Greece, but it's basically we took off during COVID because nobody had spaces to film commercials, and we were fortunate enough to have the Super Bowl down here in Tampa
Yeah.
during that year, and we ended up shooting like 8 Super Bowl commercials in our studio here, which obviously gave us a launching pad with bigger brands like ESPN and Nike and Mercedes Benz and so many other people in WWE. And so we're doing really well with that as well. So people ask me all the time, do you miss competing? Yeah, I miss competing, but I'm pivoting again.
Sure.
I'll always have WWE in my blood. I'll always be loyal to my coworkers there. simply because I've built very good relationships, not just with the talent, but also with backstage talent. And I think the world of obviously Paul Levesque and Nick Khan, and the opportunities that they continue to provide to superstars to grow, both present and for the future. They're very forward thinking. And if I can contribute in any way, shape, or form, whether it's on screen or off screen, I'm happy to do it. But I also know that this next couple of years, I'm going to be in a very good space where I want to be outside of the ring. And I'm very happy with that.
Oh, that's tremendous, and it's a great example, a great role model. I mean, you just got to keep fighting, keep pushing. Everybody watching, you can get both books, both really inspirational. The first one, if we can get it to pop up, There's No Such Thing as a Bad Kid: How I Went from a Stereotype to a Prototype, which is, again, a tremendous lesson because there's way too many kids that get their dreams dashed early, and then just feel like, okay, hey, I can't accomplish anything because this person's an authority and they told me I can't listen to that. And then, of course, the one we were talking about, Wrestling with Fatherhood: My Championship Journey to My Greatest Title, Dad. Titus, thanks so much for taking the time to step in the ring and join us here on Wrestling Spotlight. Look forward maybe to running into you at WrestleMania this year in Las Vegas.
Sir. There's a good chance. Good chance you could.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it. Yeah,
Awesome.
man.
Hey, thanks again. And by all means, is there a website or an X handle to reach out to your foundation if somebody sees this and they want to make a donation?
Yes, BullardFamilyFoundation.org, BULLARD, FamilyFoundation.org, O-R-G. And our Instagram and Twitter handles are BFF Tampa, at BFF Tampa.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the road to WrestleMania. Thanks for coming on Wrestling Spotlight. Really appreciate having you on.
Thank you, sir. All righty.